I've spent over $250,000 of my own money on Instagram ads, and in this video, I'm gonna walk you through how Instagram ads are making sports coaches north of $10 to $20, even $30,000 a month using this exact strategy. This is from a coaching call that I had of my highest level program. These clients have paid me, multiple five figures, some of them upwards of $30,000 to learn these strategies, and I'm giving it away to you for free in this video. So if you wanna learn how to use Instagram ads to scale your online coaching business, train athletes online to make over $10, $20, $30,000 a month, then you're in the right place. Get out a pen, get out a notepad, and take notes because this is super tactical. So without further ado, let's jump into the video.
There are two types of DM ads, right? We have direct and we have indirect. Okay. So when it comes to like direct DM ads, this is like CTA to work with me. Right? So it would be like hook, pain point, dream. If you want dream, DM me. And we can work together in order to make that happen, right? Indirect is like CTA for a training or, a lead magnet or something like that, right? So the biggest difference between like a direct and an indirect is direct is like, hey, DM me to work with me. Indirect is DM me for this free resource, right? So if we think about like having a direct versus an indirect conversation with somebody, if I want to be indirect and I want to tell Eric that I think he's fat, for example, be like, hey, Eric, like, what's your diet been looking like? Like, have you ever thought of like, getting more steps in, going for more walks? If I want to be direct, I'm going to be like, yo, Eric, I think you're fat and you need to lose weight. You understand the principle behind that? Where it's like direct, I'm telling you exactly what it is. Indirect, I'm trying to get you in the door with like a little carrot, right? So indirect is going to work the exact same way. Pain, dream, I'm going to put over here to work. Pain, dream, and then CTA for like a resource to solve pain, right? So if you were to run like an indirect DM ad, it would be like, if your velo wouldn't get you pulled over on the highway, listen up, right? Like we can use the same hook. You know that your only chance of playing college baseball is, to throw 90 plus, but right now you're stuck here. You would love to throw 90 plus, but there's this greater problem. You just don't know what to do. If that sounds like you, DM me the word velo and I'll send you over a resource that'll walk you through step by step how you can do it too. That's indirect. Okay, direct is almost the exact same script, but at the end, it's like if that sounds like you, then DM me velo and we'll have a conversation about, working with me one-on-one inside of my program, right? So the benefits of direct are going to be easier to book. Why do we think it's going to be easier to book them?
Because they know what they're messaging you for.
Exactly. They're well framed. Okay. The downside, it's going to be more expensive.
Mm.
That's why I said follow ads can typically work well because they're so cheap for a follow, right? An indirect is going to be cheaper leads and you're leading with value. The downside is that they're coming in looking for free shit, right? It's the frame. So if you're really good at turning like a follower into eventually a client, then an indirect may be what's best for you. Right? Also, this is probably going to take a little bit more time. Like you're going to probably have a little bit longer of a sales cycle. This one is going to be shorter sales cycle, but less leads. So we just have to understand that there are trades between like direct and indirect types of DM ads. Okay. If we want to run a DM ad and you've never run one for the first time, let's say you're going to run a direct DM ad, right? What I would do is I would look at my organic. Step one, look at my organic and look at my best hooks. So, Eric, what are your best hooks right now?
Off the top of my head, honestly, the best hook is the one I came up with at the mastermind, but I haven't posted it yet.
Sick. Okay.
Yeah, we'll say that for this purpose.
Sweet. Okay, so I'm going to look at my organic hooks. And I'm also going to look at the copy, like the body copy. So like what we're actually saying in the script. And we're going to try and model those in our DM ads, okay? Do you have a budget? Do you have a budget of like, okay, over 30 days, if I lose X amount of dollars, I don't make a single dollar from this, like I'm not going to totally screw myself over.
Yeah, probably like a G.
Okay. So that's like $30 a day. Okay. Then from there, we're going to create, let's say 3 to 5 unique hooks or angles. Okay. And we're going to do that based on the organic stuff. Does that make sense? So when we talk about hooks and angles, if there's like when you're watching people or when people are watching your stuff, like there's different motivations behind why they want to work with you, right? So like what are the different motivations behind why somebody wants to work with you?
Are you literally asking me?
Yeah, yeah.
They throw slow. They're not the ace of their staff. They want to get recruited to play in college. Their shit gets hit.
Okay. So let's try and put those into buckets, right? Because some of those can kind of be the exact same thing. Their
Sure.
shit gets hit, they're not the ace of their staff, whatever, right? Those can each be different hooks and angles for sure. But like let's try and create like individual buckets.
Well, there's two main ones.
Okay.
They throw slow and they don't have any interest from schools.
Okay. Now, when we look at these two buckets, we can probably come up with like multiple different reasons as to why these are problems, right? So throwing slow, why is throwing slow a problem and why do they want to get that problem solved?
Gotta ignore this call. Why do they want to get that problem solved? Because then their shit wouldn't get rocked.
Okay. Not rocked. Okay, what else?
They would probably throw more innings.
More innings. Okay, what else?
They would, can I say, get recruited for this one?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. For no interest. Why do they want to solve that problem?
Because they want to play in college.
Okay. What else?
Because they feel like shit about not having any interest compared to their teammates who are committing D1.
Sweet. Okay. What else?
This is kind of a stupid one, but they want to make a commitment post.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing to like lean into because it's true. Like when I was in high school, bro, like I committed to Notre Dame over all the other schools because I thought it was going to give me more status amongst other people,
100%.
right? So it's like if we understand that, we can lean into that. These are your different angles that you're going to take inside your ads, right? And there can be a bunch of different things that we can look at. Yeah, see, Dylan says that's why he went to Oregon. 100%. And we need to lean into that. The fact that people are so fucking status driven that it's like, it's literally everything, right? So, with that in mind, we're going to create, like I said, 3 to 5 hooks and angles of these ads. Okay. So, this is hook 1. This is hook 2. This is hook 3. This is hook 4. And this is hook 5. Okay. And we're going to use these different buying motivations as the as the hooks that we're trying to run, right? And each of these is going to have a unique DM keyword. Why do we want to have a unique DM keyword?
So we know which video they're coming from.
Bingo. Because one of these maybe gets like a $2 cost per message, and this one gets like a $5 cost per message, but this one gets like a $50 cost per call, and this one gets like, I don't know, a $75 cost per call. So like just because we're getting super cheap leads from this one doesn't mean that this one is the one we should scale. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Ideally, we're going to leave all 5 of these on. So that way we hit different pockets of the audience that we currently have. Right? Then we're going to run one campaign. And one ad set with 5 unique ads. We're going to launch the campaign at like, let's say $30 a day. And we're going to let it ride.
Yo.
For like 3 days. And after like, let's say after 3 days, then we can evaluate, okay, which are the best ads that we're pulling right now? Which one are getting the most quality leads? Some of these ads are probably going to be getting more spend than others. What I used to do is I used to like, after let's say 3 days, if one ad was performing better than the other, like I would make a decision based on like, okay, this one has $2 cost per message. This one has $5 cost per message. I would kill this one. And like, let's say this one had like $7 cost per message. I would kill this one too. And then eventually I would just run with one that had the lowest cost per message. The reason why we don't want to do that is because each of these are unique buying motives. And it's more about the overall blended ROAS. And by blended ROAS, I mean like total spend, or I guess like total cash divided by total spend. So it's more about the overall campaign that we're looking at rather than like each individual ad. Now, if one ad is just not getting any spend, then there are things that we can do there. But I think for now, like this is a pretty good start for you to think about it, right? What we're trying to hit is on 30 days, we want at least a 3x ROAS. Okay, so if we spend $1,000, we want at least 3K back in our pocket in that first 30 days. That's like, this is really the goal that we're trying to hit. Which means what? What do you charge?
2,500.
Okay. And what's your average like cash per sale?
Like 15. Factor in the hybrid guys that I sell.
Okay. What if we just go strictly online?
About 18.
Okay. $1,800 AOV, average order value, cash per sale, whatever you want to call it, right? And then let's say it's 2,500 average contract value. Okay. How many sales do we need to make in order to hit the 3-to-1 ROAS?
At the 2,500 or the
At
18?
the 18, the 3-to-1 in 30 days.
2.
2, yeah. Because if we spend 1,000 and we collect, let's say 3,600, that's a 3.6x in 30 days. This is good. This is good. What do we do with this?
Run it.
Yeah, we fucking spend more. What would that be? 7,200? Right? Assuming all KPIs stay the same. And then we also have the cash coming in the next month from like the payment plans if somebody did a payment plan. Right?
Yeah.
So this is how we need to think about it. This is really the main goal that we want is a 3x ROAS. We can get caught up like I have people hitting me up. They're like, "Oh, my cost per message is this, blah 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 blah." It's like, "Yo, none of that shit fucking matters." What matters is the ROAS. So I'll give you a prime example, okay? Let's say we get a $5 cost per message, which is pretty reasonable. That's about what a lot of you guys are getting right now. About a $5 cost per message, right? Wyatt, that's like about what you get. Connor, that's like about, Connor probably even gets a little bit cheaper than that, to be honest. But like about $5 cost per message, I think is pretty reasonable. So let's say we spend $1,000 on an average of $5 cost per message. How many messages would that get us?
What is that? 200?
200 messages. Okay. So if we have 200 messages, let's say we even have a 5% lead to schedule. How many scheduled calls is that?
$10.
Bingo. Okay. 10 calls. What's your show rate right now?
74 point something.
Okay, let's be conservative and say that it's going to be 70. Because these are going to be cold leads. Okay? Who here went from organic, started spending money on ads, and was like, whoa, these people don't know dick about what I do. Who's done that before? Yup. Of course. So you got to understand that these KPIs are going to be a little bit lower than like what our organic typically is because they're ice cold leads. They've probably never heard of you before. And if you have a pretty good hook, you're going to get a lot of people just clicking on it. So let's say 70% show rate, 7 calls taken. What's your close rate right now?
45.
Okay. So let's say 30%. Let's be super conservative. 30% close rate here is about 2 deals. So that puts us right at the $3,600 cash, 5,000 revenue, which is a 3.6x on 30 days and 5.0x total. So these are really the KPIs that we're looking for. But as you can see, it's really just about the total KPIs inside of the entire funnel, right? If you close at, let's say, 50%, that changes everything. Then in order to hit a 3x ROAS, we don't need to be as good on the show rate. We don't need to be as good on the lead to schedule. We don't need to be as good on the cost per message in order to hit the 3x. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So really what the point that I'm trying to make is we need to look at these drop-off points. How much are we paying for a message? How many of those people are we scheduling? How many of those people show? How many of those people close? Those are the main KPIs that we need to look at when we're running DM ads, because I tell you, if you start to get caught up in like, oh, my cost per message is too high, like I saw Joe gets a $2 cost per message and I'm getting a 6. It's like Joe might have a lead to schedule of 1.5%. You know what I'm saying? So we have to look at the entire funnel from front to back, where it's like $5 message, 5% lead to schedule, 70% show, 30% close to get the 3,600 on the other side that we're looking for. Does that make sense? So your action steps are to, number one, look at your organic hooks of like the pieces of content that have converted. Then pick a budget. We've already got the budget picked. Cool. Then from there, we're going to create 3 to 5 unique hooks and angles based on the different buying motivations that we've come up with. We launch a campaign with 3 to 5 unique creatives, each one with a unique DM keyword for each specific angle that we're trying to hit. Launch one campaign. This is our target 3x ROAS. And then from there, we're just looking at the entire funnel in order to see if we spend $1,000, are we going to get at least 3,000 back? If after the first 30 days, we don't get at least 3,000 back, then we need to look at the entire funnel front to back, right? So for example, I've had people before where they're like, oh, I'm spending money on this ad and, I don't know, like I'm not really closing on these calls. Like, is this ad working? What is the job of the ad?
Get them in the door.
It's to get them in the door, right? It's to get them in the door. So if your close rate is 10% and your cost per message is $5, if your close rate was 30%, would your ROAS be positive, or would your ROAS be 3x plus? If the answer is yes, then it's not the ad, especially if you're getting the types of people on the phone that you want to get, right? This is very, very, very important to understand, because a lot of people, and like I have people messaging me about this shit all the time, where they're like, oh, my show rate is bad, my close rate is bad. Like, should I change this ad? Like, nah, the ad is doing its job. The ad is doing its job. If you're getting cheap messages within KPI and you're able to schedule, a certain percentage of people to where everything downstream on the funnel works, then it's not the ad's fault. It's the sales process. So we need to do a really, really good job when we launch these ads to understand that we are looking at this entire thing front to back. that we're not just like hyper fixating on how cheap are our messages. That's just one lever that we can pull, right? Once we have a 3-to-1 ROAS here, we want to increase the amount of spend that we have and optimize at the same time. We don't want to change everything, but we want to look at this and go, which one of these statistics is the easiest one to double or cut in half? Let's say we're getting a $10 cost per message. And our ROAS is like, let's say 2x. But we have the 5% lead to schedule, 70% show, 30% close. Well, at that point, we probably need to pay attention to getting cheaper messages. Then we can look inside the cost per message statistic and go, okay, what's the click-through rate on this? What's the DM rate on this? And we can start to get granular. But these are really the only metrics that we want to pay attention to. And if they're within KPI, we continue to punch up the spend. If they're not within KPI, then we can go deeper into like, let's say our lead to schedule is down, is like low as fuck. Let's say our lead to schedule ends up being the bottleneck, right? What are all the statistics that go into like the lead to schedule?
Show rate.
Nope. Show rate does not go into lead to
Calls
schedule.
booked.
Yeah, 100%. That's one of them. What else?
Calls. What would calls pitched be? Yeah,
100%.
I guess calls pitch.
100%. What
I'm
else?
just thinking because I have many chats set up. So if they go in and they watch the BSL and then book right from there, like how would you? I guess that just goes into calls booked and it's not really a pitched.
Correct, but that counts as a lead, right?
Yeah.
Also, touch points. Then we can even look at like touch point to pitch to book. Right? This is why I'm telling you guys not to fucking overanalyze like this set of statistics right here all the time. Because if the lead to schedule is within KPI, then we don't give a fuck about any of these. Does that make sense? Because you're just going to get caught in the weeds. If our lead to schedule is down, then we need to look, are we talking to enough people? Are we getting enough leads in order to get the ROAS that we want? If we're not, then it's probably not lead to schedule. Then it's probably your cost per message. Right? But number one, are we talking to enough people? Are we pitching enough people? What percentage of people that we're pitching are we actually booking? And that is how you can do bottleneck analysis. That's how you can look at your funnel and optimize from there, rather than like launching an ad going, oh, my cost per message is $4.50. That's too high. It's like according to what? See what I'm saying? To where we can break down each of these individual statistics. Like, let's say our show rate's down. It's like, okay, what goes into show rate? Conversation quality, follow-ups before the call, the frame of how we're pitching the call, our parents on the call, how far out are we booking the call? What does our confirmation page look like? Do we have a confirmation page? Are we booking them manually? Are we dropping the link? But this is how we can kind of look through each individual statistic and optimize from there, rather than making emotional decisions. Because there's really only one bottleneck in this funnel right now. I would argue that it's lead to schedule at this moment in time. If we have a $5 cost per message, 70% show, 30% close, it's lead to schedule. If we double that to 10%, then we'll double our ROAS. without having to spend any more money on the ad, right? So imagine if we double our ad spend from 1K to 2K and our cost per message is $5. I'm going to erase that. Cost per message is $5. We'll get, what would that be? 100 messages, or no, it'd be more than that. 400 messages, right? Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. I think that's right. 400 messages. And then let's say we go 10% lead to schedule. Now we're booking 40 calls. Let's say our show rate's 70%. What would that look like? 28. Let's say we keep a 30% close. Now we're closing 8 deals. Then we look at these statistics. Let's say we hit it again, and we still have the 1800 AOV. How much cash are we collecting? $14,400. Okay. So now we have a 7x ROAS. Not fucking bad. Right? What do we do with this? What do we do with these things? We spend more money. What's the easiest number to double here? It's this one. Right? Because sometimes some of you guys will have like a fucking 4 or 5x ROAS and you're like, oh, dude, I feel like I'm not closing enough. It's like you can feel however the fuck you want, but what's easier to double? 30% close rate or $2,000? What do we have more control over? Well, once we go to 4K spend, let's say our cost per message goes to $8 a message. And let's say our lead to schedule goes to 7% now. Okay, now it's starting to complicate things. Then let's say our show rate goes to 60%. And our close rate goes to 20%. This is where a lot of people get fucked up because they start to spend a little bit more money, their statistics drop and they freak out and they pump the brakes instead of doing the exact same thing. What would even these KPIs be? Let me look. Okay. 8% lead to schedule or $8 cost per message, 500. 500 times 0.07 is 35. 35 times 0.6 is 21. And a 20% close rate on that is 4 deals. Okay. 4 times 1,800 is 7,200 cash collected. And our ROAS all of a sudden is now like 1.5. Or it's not, it's like 1.7 something, right? What is that? Or it's 1.8, 1.8x ROAS. In this instance, we need to look at the statistics previously and go, what happened here? And then this is when we optimize because we're not hitting the 3-to-1. Does that make sense? So then the next month, we're going to look at this and go, how do we get these statistics better? Like, what are the things that we need to optimize? What's the easiest number to double? Or
How
at
much
least
you spend?
100%. But we're at a 1.8x ROAS on the front end. If we spend more right now, our ROAS is going to compress even more. So we need to get more efficient now before we continue to spend more. So we keep the $4,000 spend, and then we look at these statistics. Which one is the easiest one to improve? To make a meaningful difference, right? Let's say improve by 50%. It's probably cost per message. So then we can do the things that we need to in order to improve the cost per message, right? And we do that the next month. We make those changes. We run it again. Let's say it's a $4 cost per message. All of a sudden, the ROAS is at 3.6. Run it up again. Does this make sense to everybody? Cool. I know I went pretty in depth on this, but like, what questions do we have right now?
So obviously I dropped a ton of sauce there, but if you're interested in learning from me directly one-on-one, how this applies to you, then go ahead, book a call with me down below. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. Either way, I hope you got a ton of value. Catch you in the next one. Peace.